How many times have you gone to an event and been the fifth wheel or gone by yourself and you just like felt so uncomfortable because you didn't have somebody there with you? Maybe you've gone to Christmas, everybody's got families, and then it's just you. And it just feels like empty. You feel lonely. You're isolated, or at least you think you are. I get that. I felt that way quite a few times in my life. And it's not a good feeling. But the truth is that even when we're by ourselves, we aren't alone. And that's one of the benefits of building your walk with Christ. But that doesn't guarantee that you won't feel lonely. I went through my recovery program and life transformations and discipleship, and I got to the point where I'm really comfortable not having a plus one with me. That I know I have my community, I have my life group, I have my friends, and I don't mind being by myself. I actually embrace it because it's an opportunity, and you're actually with more people, you're around more people, and that is a great thing. Good morning. So that ability to be comfortable, it's such a blessing, and it comes from switching from a taker and becoming a giver. And it's because there's so many opportunities to be in community with other people. But even people that are in community can struggle with being lonely. It was amazing to me where I had walked into the door of my church, and my pastor, who was the first pastor I had at the church, he had some health issues, and he had to stay in a different house because they were trying to figure out what the problem was with him, and they were doing some mold remediation in the house that he lived in, so he had to move out. But I walked in and I said to him, I go, man, I used to be lonely all the time, and I don't have loneliness anymore. He said, really? He said, because, I was just feeling lonely, so I came out to hang out at the church because I was feeling lonely sitting in the house. And it just struck me, I was so surprised to hear he would be lonely. So it can hit anybody, even if you're with somebody. And I think it comes down to, with him, what he did is he went to be in community at the church, to come hang out at the church so that he could be around his community. And I think you can find community even in somebody that you don't even know. You could go to a coffee shop and start a conversation. Good morning. You could go help somebody. There are so many things that you can do that would help take away that loneliness. But I think one of the difficulties that people have that are lonely is that it's conditional on what they think they need to get rid of that loneliness. So you have to open your mind, and you have to be willing to get out of that loneliness in ways that doesn't fit what you think the remedy is. So let's say you're alone on Christmas Day You could go serve at a food bank. Just go volunteer at a food bank. Or volunteer at some places serving Christmas meals. Just show up and say, hey, can you use some help? And you'd be in community. You can call a friend. And I realize that a lot of times you think you don't have anybody to call, but you do. You can, go find a coffee shop. There's so many things that you can do, but it just doesn't, you have to be willing to do things that are uncomfortable or might not seem like the solution. And that's a hard example because everything's closed on Christmas with the exception of a few things, but I'm going to an extreme there. So, and as I'm recording this, we're in June, so we're, in the middle of summer, which is a good thing because you can get out and there's so many things that you can do. You can go to groups. If your loneliness is really bad, you can reach out to, there's groups in church. If you're not into your faith, you can look at things that you're dealing with. If you're struggling with a family member, or if you're recently divorced, there are divorce groups that you can reach out to. There's all kinds of things, and I challenge you, if you're feeling lonely now, you can decide what works for you and what doesn't work for you. I can't control that part, but I can make suggestions. If you post in the comments, you say, okay, hey, I am lonely, and there's questions that we can ask on what kind of things are available to you. And the biggest transformation is getting comfortable with yourself and secure with yourself to be in that lonely space. But there's a process to get through to work that. And for me, it was diving into the Bible, reading the Bible cover to cover, and then getting into the Life Transformation Recovery Group and going all in. And it didn't change overnight. It took a long time, but it changed little by little. But it does get better, and like I say, there are places you can go. You can be in community, and reach out. I'll put suggestions out there for you that I did, and then you can take it and you can find your own journey based on those suggestions, and hopefully I can help you so that you don't feel so lonely. And it's amazing. There's at least 2 people that I've talked to this week that just hit right home talking about what I'm talking about. And keep in mind, you can be lonely anywhere. You can be lonely in the middle of Times Square. As a matter of fact, it's one of the best places to hide is in Times Square, right in the middle of a bunch of people that don't want to talk. So that's an advantage to go there. Good morning. How are you? Good. Even I sit here and I think about it, I'm like, I'm walking on a trail. And, I just had a chance to talk to 3 or 4 people as I'm making this video. You can go out on a trail, and if you see one person, you can have a conversation with them because they'll talk to you. Whereas you go into Times Square, you can be totally silent and people will just keep on going and they won't say anything. But if you went out into the middle of a forest where there's nobody at, if there's one person that you encounter in that forest, they're going to talk to you. And so, good morning. You know, and you know, it's interesting to think about that because most people would go off and live in isolation, but even in isolation, you can find conversation. And so, hope that helps. I realize that that's not exactly the solution that many people who would want that are feeling lonely. Usually when you're feeling lonely, you want things to go your way. You want the right person to show up in your life. You want to get the attention that you're longing for. And you know that doesn't always work. So sometimes that change happens when you get connected in ways that you never thought. And that can be such a blessing because the connection can be so much better than what you were searching for before. And your life can be so much more enjoyable. And quite frankly, you know, my life is much more peaceful. I do enjoy my life. I am very comfortable with things now. And I wasn't when I had tons of people around me, when I had everything, when I had what everybody thinks they want. It wasn't what everybody thought it was. That's the part that it was miserable. This is the good part. To be able to do this, to be able to go out and walk, to be able to not feel lonely when I'm by myself, because I don't need that to make my day. And when I want to be in community, I can be in community. I don't have to worry about it. It is a pleasure. It's a peace. It's peace, joy, and serenity. That is way better. That's way better than my best day before I had that. So with that, I'm going to end the video for today. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.